What's up, world? It's your favorite photographer, Jermaine Horton. I am a Sony artist in imagery. I'm also an ambassador for Westcott, and today I'm going to show you the things that I use so I can get some killer shots at this Stan Mansion styled wedding shoot. I'm excited for you guys to see my process, things that I do to get the shots that I get, and we're going to have some fun in the process too. So make sure you guys tune in. All right, so let's talk about style shoot weddings. I really love style shoot weddings for many reasons. One of the reasons is it doesn't matter if you're new into photography, it doesn't matter if you're intermediate, it doesn't matter if you're a pro. This can be for anyone and everyone. And one of the main things about these style shoot weddings that's key and essential for me is the relationships that I have with the other vendors. You'll have floral, you have the wedding planner. In some cases, depending on where you're at and what kind of style shoot you're doing, you may even have food. Oh, I love food. Blame COVID. COVID is the reason why I love food so much, right? So, no, that's a lie. I just love food. But anywho, the amazing thing, again, is those relationships. So many different vendors. Again, we can even talk about the wedding planner. You're talking about floral. You could talk about whoever doing the cakes. Whatever it is that you're going to have highlighted. Now, let me say this. Here in Chicago, in the state of Illinois, we are under very strict guidelines, even though we have become a little bit relaxed because our numbers have went down. A lot of the venues are really strict on what we can and what we can't do. So a lot of the things that we really wanted to do for the style shoot, we could not do because of those restrictions. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys probably some of the best representation of what one would look like. But again, we were restricted, so we couldn't do dance floor, we couldn't do dancing or anything like that. And a lot of other things that were cut out of it. So I'll give you guys the best that I can give you for what we could use, okay? So for me, it's all about having the right tools for the job. And I'll tell you exactly what I use to start my day and how I finish it. So when I'm doing my details, my number one lens that I use is my 90 macro. The 90 macro is my favorite. It's the one that I use to get the shots of rings and jewelry and things of that nature. And it's probably the least used, but one of the most important. When I'm doing the getting ready portion, the 35 1.4 is probably one of my favorites because I'm usually in a hotel room with low light. And to have that extra stop of light or more using a 1.4 is very key. I love lenses that I can use in low light. So the 35 1.4 is always on one of my bodies. On the other body, I'll usually have the 55 as far as for the getting ready. It's the perfect focal length for me, the 35 and the 55. Once we get started with the actual ceremony, the 70 to 200 is on my main camera and the 16 to 35 is on my other camera. And I just never know, when I'm going to need that extra reach or when I want to stay out of a scene. I don't like to be in the scene and to always be in front of people and blocking their view because it's their day. So I'd rather be in a place where I'm not obtrusive, where I can get certain shots from different angles. If they're doing the ring exchange, I want to be all the way down the center of the aisle, go to 200, and I can get those shots of the actual exchanging of the rings or even the rings being put on the hand. But then also sometimes I shoot in certain churches that do not allow you even near the altar. You can't even be on the floor. You may even have to shoot in the balcony. So the 70 to 200 is absolutely key. I do shoot at a lot of churches and a lot of cathedrals. So the 16 and 35, it allows me to get the entire structure of that building that I'm in and just to get a unique shot. So that's important for me to have that 16 to 35 2.8 G Master. So then once that session is over with, the next thing that we're probably doing is family photos. Family photos, I know I'm using the 35, all right? Or I'm still just gonna use the 16 35. Those are pretty quick, knock those out. So then after that, we're going into the portrait session. That's when I bring out the 85. The 7200 is up for the rest of the day. I usually don't bring it out. The 85 1.8 is really key for my portrait sessions. After the portrait sessions, we're going into the actual reception. And again, for the reception, I'm going to be using the 55 and the 35 1.4. Usually those are going to be on me for the duration of the entire evening. So those are the right tools for the job that I have. When it comes to lighting, what I'll end up having is 3 or 4 speed lights with modifiers, mainly grids on them. Those are something that I use along with CTO gels, which is very key. Also, what I'd like to use is my off-camera flash for when I'm doing portraits. And with that, I'm usually bringing an FJ400 with a softbox. If it's harsh light, I'll probably just use a beauty dish or use the reflector that comes with it. And I try to pack light for weddings when it comes to lighting for the most part. The thing about this location is I'm very familiar with the Stan Mansion. I'm very familiar with the layout. Even when you're at a style shoot, sometimes you're in a pinch for time. At this particular location, again, with COVID, we were so tied up with timing. Timing was of the essence. And we really just did not have the time that you would normally have at a style shoot. So everything was compressed. Everything was happening quick pace, almost like at a wedding. So you'll see me moving around quick, or certain shots that we wanted to get, we just could not get because the venue was closing at a certain time, or certain vendors had to leave at a certain time. We were waiting on certain things to come. So again, COVID kind of like put things in a messed up situation for us. So, but we did the best that we could. You'll sometimes have a situation where you need to move things. The one thing I will say is, I don't care if it's a style shoot or if it's an actual wedding. If something is in your way, move it. I'm one of those people, I'd rather do less time with Photoshop and doing post work. I'd want to have my weddings done quick with my post process. So in this scene right here, there's a beautiful white rug that was brought, but it was on top of the carpet. But it was clashing and it just did not look good at all. So we decided to pull that rug up so that way we can highlight the beautiful sofa that was put there, the beautiful floor arrangement that was put together, and this amazing white mink rug. I don't know what that is, but it looks nice. In this scene, there's a beautiful window light that comes in, but it's a very narrow streak of light that comes in. In this scenario, in this situation, I really just felt like the lighting was uneven. I felt that there were some shadows on places where I really didn't want it, and I wanted the lighting to be even all the way through. Now, if I did a natural light shot, it still would have looked nice, but I didn't want to have the streaks of sun or the window streaks just laying in a certain area, so I wanted it to be completely even and highlighted the way that I wanted to. So I pulled out 2 FJ400s. I put them on the side of each of the floor arrangement so that I can make sure that I was getting rid of some of those shadows and filling in certain areas. And so that shot of the actual couch is done. So as you see right here, guys, I'm literally just getting low. I want to get a really good perspective of shooting the details of this floral arrangement, let them see these beautiful flowers that were put together. But at the same time, I still want you to see the couch in it as well. So I decided to get closer and go wider. So I decided to, at this moment, go ahead and get shots of the actual robe that the client was wearing. This was her getting ready robe. Many times you'll see the bride have with her bridesmaids these matching robes, but this was a custom robe that was put together for her. And again, because of COVID, we could not include other people in the shoot, so we wanted to have bridesmaids. We could not have bridesmaids because of that situation. And here's the thing. In a real world, that happens. There's issues with the dress. There may be the zipper that had broken, the clasp has broken. Just so many different things that can go wrong on a wedding day. It typically sometimes do, even on style shoots, even though you don't want it to happen. But, you know, if you're new to this, you're kind of glad that it happens so that you can get a feel for what to do and what not to do. All right. One of the things that I wanted to do, and at this point, the wedding planner is like, listen, we got to go. So we probably only got time for maybe 1 or 2 shots. And so one of the things I love about the ice light, again, it gives me some really good lighting in dark situations. So literally what I want to do is I want to cut out the ambient light. And so now I really just want her highlighted by this ice light that I have sitting in front of her, propped up literally by a pillow. I'm going to have the hairstylist actually go ahead and spray her hair so I can do the hairspray shot. I wanted to make sure that I had some good lighting on her face, but also I needed that light from the side, which I'm using the FJ400 to backlight the hairspray so I can get a dynamic shot. So in this portion, this is where my bride is ready, all right, or she's getting ready. But we want to get shots of her in her actual robe. And so because we have this beautiful flower bed arrangement or this floral arrangement around the couch, I decided to highlight her in her robe, laying back, comfortable, just relaxing, getting ready for her day. And typically my brides actually do that because they know they're going to be anxious. They're so excited. It's the big day. So sometimes they're just like, they need to take a breather. And that's what I'm having her do. But I really wanted to highlight her, and I like to do some portraits of the actual bride getting ready, chilling in her robe, in her gown, or whatever it is that she's getting ready in, so that she can have a variety of shots for her actual wedding. So I'm using a 35 1.4 in this shot, and it's one of my favorite portrait lenses to use for wide angles and to have like an environmental portrait so that the subject is in there, but also that you have whatever else that you're gonna have in that shot. And in this case, it's the floral arrangement with the couch. So I have two FJ400s. Now I have them with soft boxes, right? So I have a large and I have a medium. And right now what I'm seeing is that I'm getting a lot of spillage, okay? So on that back wall, I'm seeing extra light just flooding on that wall. And I know at this moment, I've got to do something. And that's where the grids come into place. And this is why I'm so big on making sure that you have the right tool for the job. So I know some people may think it's excessive that I have so much equipment at a wedding sometimes, but I really feel like each one just has its own unique tool that's for that situation. So as you see right here, I decided, all right, I'm gonna put this grid on. All right, so as I'm getting this shot, and I have the grid on right now, but I want to lean it in a little bit closer. So I asked my assistant, hey, I need you to put that in really close to her so I can have this really soft light, even though the light is controlled with that grid. But I still have kind of like a rim light on the side of her that's going off as well, just to give that separation and also lighter hair. And I am getting it closer and closer because I want it to be just perfect, right? So also what I decided to do was I wanted to highlight the ice light. I really feel like the ice light does great with portraits. It's a really good fun light to use, man. Again, it's something that's compact, it's minimal. It's not something that is going to take over an entire area like sometimes the soft boxes would. Now, at a typical wedding, I will say I do not always have the luxury of being able to use both of my soft boxes to where that I can have these shots set up. So I may use, in this moment, maybe a speed light. Just really depends. But for this, if I have the time and I can set up what I want, I'm going to set it up. And that's why it's always good to have an assistant or someone there that can assist you so that this workflow is so much faster. Also, one of the best things is clients love music. Always have music going. So now I'm giving my model direction. I really want to make sure that now I'm leading her to exactly what it is that I want from her so that I can get these shots, right? So I'm having her put her hand up, a really feminine pose for her, something very model-esque. Like she was on it anyway. She was such a great model. So again, I have my assistant leaning that Westcott Rapid Box with the grid in on her because I know exactly what it is that I want. So as I'm getting the shot and I have the grid on there and he's leaning it in, I thought to myself, why not use something else in my environment? I'm really big on trying to use your environment to try different shots, right? And I noticed there was a chandelier. It's a low hanging chandelier. And so I kind of wanted to shoot between the crystals and have her in focus and just do something a little bit different other than just her laying there or getting a at height shot. So I decided to shoot from above. I love shooting from above. It narrows the subject. It makes also more flattering for photos in certain situations. And so you can see I'm pretty excited because I love the shot that I actually got when I took this shot. All right, so one of the key things that I am very big on is giving my models direction or giving my bride direction. You know, because even though she's getting ready, sometimes, and I do have a lot of my brides that want candids, so we do a ton of candid stuff. But then she sometimes will want something, hey, pose me, or I want her pose because I know I have a certain look that I want to achieve. So as you see right here, this is me actually posing her, getting her ready. I want a really feminine vibe. I want that queen vibe. I want that slay to the gods vibe. And you can see she's just getting ready to give it to me, right? And so that's me just getting her set up, getting her prepped. I still have that grid on my Westcott. My other one does not have a grid, didn't need it for that one. And I'm getting a low perspective and a low angle on this shot. And in this moment right now, I really just want her gazing at me. I want her smizing, and she's doing it flawlessly. She gives me that little smile. But again, I know exactly how to get the emotion and get everything that I need out of my couples. So now I have my model in the center of the actual sofa. And I really want everything to be even. I got florals on one side, the other floral on the other end. Now I'm just getting hand placement together. I want her wrist very delicate, legs a certain way, and I want that chin up. And she's giving me everything that I need. So it's so imperative to give your clients direction. Don't always assume that they know what you need or what you want. So give them that direction. You don't have to touch them. You can literally guide them. You can sit next to them and show them, hey, this is what I want, and mimic them. Or if they're just not doing it, then you can say, hey, is it okay if I move your head? Is it all right if I direct you? And it's okay to do that if she says it's okay, or he. One of the things that I do when I am shooting details of the reception, I do love getting low angles and shooting up. I love to get details of the different glasses, the tablescape, but more so I really like to focus on the glass and use a very low aperture. I like to have that bokeh in that background. So if there's a cake in the distance or if I see some lights in the background, I'll definitely shoot up close to these glasses so that I can get those little bokeh balls in the back, what you see with those LED lights back there. So it's just different perspectives that I like to do when I'm shooting certain details of a wedding. So right now what I'm doing is I want to highlight my couple and get some kind of like candids, but at the same time kind of pose. So I'm actually just having them look at each other, but I want them to laugh. I want to crack jokes with them. I want them to interact with each other. And that is exactly what I do with my couples. I'll crack a joke. I'll ask them questions. I'll do whatever it takes to get the reaction that I need so that I get the shot that I want. And in this moment, I want them just looking at each other, gazing at each other, which is what they're doing. But sometimes I'll use candles and I'll frame it a certain way to where it's a unique shot. Also, what I'm doing is I have the ice light highlighted on the couple as my main light for them. And I'm using my softbox, just the continuous lighting and the lighting bulb from that to light the actual flowers that are directly in front of them, that bouquet. So, and of course I have another light on the other end of the table, but that's really not even a factor for this shot. The main thing is I want to highlight them. And if I have those floral in focus or they're part of the shot, I want them to be lit too, so it's not dim or it's not dark. And that's exactly what I was going for with this shot here. So right now what I want to do is I actually want to highlight the couple. And again, then I'm doing a style shoot and we're talking about details. You want to have the details featured. You want to have them in the shot, not just the couple. So right now I have the couple. You see me posing them. I know exactly how I want him to look. I know how I want him to stand, and I'm getting him prepped. But then at the same time, I'm going to do the same thing for my bride as well too. And right now I have a Westcott box directly pointed at him, the Westcott rapid box pointed directly at the couple. But then I also have another rapid box pointing toward the actual floral. Because again, I want to highlight my subject with my lighting, but I also want to make sure that I have the details lit evenly as well too. So that's very important. So sometimes if I can't get my couple to actually see what I'm doing, I'll pull an assistant over, I'll pull someone over, and I'll say, hey, here's what I want to mimic. But I always ask, hey, is it all right if I show you how to do this? Is it all right if I use you as an example? Is it right if I touch your arm? So I always make sure I ask permission. But I like to mimic and put myself in a position where they can physically see exactly what I expect from them. So one of the things that I do sometimes depends on the situation. At some weddings, I will bring my iPad. I do love to see the shot that I actually got sometimes, especially if I have time. For a style shoot, I absolutely bring my iPad because it's a reference to see what it looks like out of camera. Sometimes the LCD screen does not always render exactly what is there, depending on the camera that you have. So I know, and sometimes if I look through the EVF, it looks a lot better than it does on the screen. But if I can transfer it to my iPad, I can see all the details that I want to see. I can see any corrections that I need to make. And especially if I have the wedding planner there, I can say, hey, how do you like this? Does this look good for you? Do we need to make any adjustments? Do we need to move any of the candles? Do we need to adjust any of the flowers? Do they need to be sprayed again? Do they need to look even more moist? So this is one of the reasons why I bring an iPad, and I have Lightroom mobile on there, so that way I can edit. I already have my preset that I use that I've created for my workflow. And I just press a button, bam, it's there. I may adjust the exposure, but my client can see right there, which is my wedding planner. She can actually see what it is I'm getting for her. And they appreciate that because they feel like they're a part of it. They feel like they're in this and that they have a say-so over how their work is going to be presented and shown. So that is the reason why I have that. But also for me too. All right, so what you guys see in this clip right now is me getting detailed shots of the cake. I love getting shots of the cake. It's one of my favorite things to shoot because I love me some cake. Clearly in this video, I look like a pregnant dolphin. This COVID weight has been horrible. I am planning on getting rid of it. So next time you see a video from me, hopefully I will be slim and back together. But anyway, here's the thing. I love using OCF when it comes to shooting some of my details, especially the cake. All right, so I had an FJ400 with a softbox on it. So it would be my main light for the cake. But then I also have a light off to the side to the back of the cake because I wanted to give like a green rim to it, since this was already a theme that was centered around green, being a part of her tablescapes and a part of the actual color theme that she had put together. So Westcott has these green gels that come in it along with some other gels. And so I just use it as like a little side light to give it a little green kick. And I love how it turned out. But then I wanted to do something different. So I took that same light, and instead of it being a rim light, I moved it where the actual flash was facing toward the actual curtains. And I wanted to highlight that entire section and turn that green so the background was like a lime green or green that would match the actual tablescape. So I thought that was pretty fun to do. So I like giving my clients different variations instead of just having one cake shot. I like them to have some different options, and I like to have options. Sometimes my bride and groom would tell me that, hey, their favorite color is purple or it's green. And if that's the case, then I could just get a gel. I can highlight that back wall. I can do like an accent light with it to give it some kind of characteristic with it. So, all right, so now we're outside, and the one thing I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to have the bride walking toward me to get some walking shots, some action shots. I wanted her to, give me some of her attitude, not attitude, but her personality, right? So I got her walking toward me, acting like she's waving to, people walking down the aisle, and you can do these things at a style shoot. You can have fun. You can have them do different things. Oh, so if you ever see me doing clips with my cell phone, I love getting behind the scenes footage. I love getting behind the scenes photos of my couples of the day. It's just fun. It feels like your audience kind of interacts with you with Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, whichever one you use. And then I post it and people know that, oh, Jermaine's at a wedding. And what happens is my brides that have weddings that are maybe further out, they're like, oh, Jermaine's on. And they get to see how I am and my couples. And it just makes them feel like they're a part of it. The one thing that I love about the Stan Mansion is the mansion itself. I love the outside, the environment, and how you can use the actual building as architecture and have them kind of like fill in. And I knew for this shot exactly what I wanted to go for. I wanted my groom to have this powerful pose, but at the same time relaxed and GQ. For my bride, I kind of wanted her to give me this powerful, feminine look. I wanted her to look like she was taking over, that this was her moment, but her moment with her, at this time now, husband, even though they're not really married. But still, if I was at an actual wedding, this is what I would be doing with my couple. So I am posing them right now. I'm getting her exactly how I want her, trying to figure out which shot looks best. I'm always big on wrist placement, arms, and different things of that nature. So I want her to understand exactly what I want from her. And that's what I'm doing in this motion. Sometimes you just got to take the bouquet and show her how it's done, like bam. And I knew with this shot that this was going to be one of my favorite shots. And I wanted to go wide with this so that I can include the entire mansion or a good portion of it so that you can actually see also the flower pots on the side, the entire environment. So they will look kind of small in it, but they still look big because they're dominating this shot. What I'm doing right now, guys, is this is one of my things I love to do. Again, if this was not COVID, we would have had a really nice bridal party, groomsmen, and we would have did a shot in the street with them lined up, like stopping traffic. I've done this a few times. It has come out epic. But for this shot, what I wanted to do, I wanted to show the environment. I wanted to show Chicago. I wanted to show that walkway. And I wanted to get them interacting as they're walking. And for me, my lens of choice is the 135. The 135 with the 1.8 aperture is stunning. It crushes the background. The way that it renders, it has its own character, this lens. And I will be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, I will not take that to a wedding. That is a portrait lens for me. I wouldn't use that. So typically I'd probably have my 70 to 200, or I'm going to use my 85 to get this particular shot. But because it's a style shoot, I was like, why not? Let me bring the 135. So I just thought that it looked amazing. The colors, the way it renders, it is a fascinating lens. I absolutely love it. And as you can see, we got some amazing shots from this and interaction. So who is style shoots for? So style shoots are for, again, beginners, intermediate, or even professionals. And they serve a lot of reasons. And for me, it's the relationships with vendors. I truly, truly love working sometimes with the ones I've have established relationships with, but also even new individuals. And the reason why is because you just never know who's going to refer you for your next big gig. And to me, that's so amazing and it's powerful. And that's what these style shoots do. It gets you comfortable with individuals and allows you to meet new people, but also for you to capture their work and for them to be able to share it with those individuals that they want to share it with, but using your artistry for it. Another thing is you want to get published. How do you get published? Well, there are so many different platforms that you can use, and I won't name all of them. You can definitely do your research on that. And you can literally go to their websites, and they even have links where you can submit your actual gallery and they'll decide or get back to you if they want to publish it or not. You can definitely show like sneak peeks and share on Facebook, Instagram, tag those individuals. Make sure you're tagging your vendors. And because some of your vendors actually have connections with those same people that you want to be published with. Another thing is have fun at these style shoots. Look, these style shoots, I know sometimes they're very important for you, for the vendors, but you want to have fun. You want to enjoy what you do. See the difference? You see the difference? Let's go. I was always taught that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So I implore you guys to enjoy yourselves, have fun, go out there, build relationships, go and find different vendors, go find other creatives, and work together. Go after your dreams, go after everything that you knew that you came for, and go get it. On that note, it's your favorite photographer, and I'm out.